Hey, how's it going? Uh, it's been a while. Welcome to Domingo Los Amigos, where it's the homies talking about comics and movies and concepts. Let's bring in Los Amigos, starting with my man Jason Krager and
Yo,
following with Mr. Will Perdomo. How are you,
what's
Hmm.
fellas?
up, my brother?
The human centipede of comics.
Uh,
Happy New Year to you guys. You know what? I know we haven't really said it all together and everything.
right.
But today it's episode one where it's kind of loose
Mhm.
and flowy, and what we realized is that we all talk on the phone and we end up having these really great conversations, and we figured, you know what? Why don't we just have these conversations over the air because they're interesting.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah.
and so today's topic that we thought we would talk about a little bit, and it was something that came kind of to my attention recently. I don't know if you guys saw Quentin Tarantino talking about actors and bad actors and stuff, and he had mentioned an
Paul
actor.
Dano.
Yeah, and then a bunch of actors came into his defense, and one of the interesting things was that this other person that threw out there was just like started throwing out how unoriginal Tarantino was, and throughout all of his sources,
Right.
and in hip hop that it used to be called sample snitching. You would find a groove and be like, "Ooh, man, what is that sample?" And I'm not telling you, enjoy it. But in this day and age, I feel like there's a crazy amount of information. I had watched this show from the '70s. You guys remember the Dick Cavett show or heard of it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm, of
So
course.
Yeah.
they had Mr. Um, Alfred Hitchcock on.
Hmm.
And Dick Cavett had said, "This is a rare treat for some of you guys in the audience. Many of you have not ever seen, you know, this movie unless you saw it in the theater. Here's a clip of whatever," and they show. I think it was suspense or something like that. But I was like, "Dude, I've seen that on TV a million times." And then I realized, wait a second, in 1972 this stuff wasn't readily available, and even in Tarantino's day, '94, when Pulp Fiction came out, there was no internet. Sure, there was video stores, but you kind of had to. If you're thinking about Russell Myers or some of the things, the Japanese film, was it Lady Snowblood? I think Will you'd mentioned.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
My
Some
favorite.
of those references. It's just kind of it's interesting now that they're readily available. You can see them on Tubi, and if you want to know anything about anything, you can really just dissect its parts. So the topic tonight is what I call the day of the remix, or what the recipes is a lot different and a lot. I think it's more of a challenge for creative people, especially in the day and age of AI.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, what we got to kind of break it down a little bit because when people bring up Quentin Tarantino, are we talking? Are you talking straight up lifting without attribution or influences?
I'm talking straight up lifting.
Okay,
Ah,
that's different. That's more like AI, where you're asking it to you, you're thinking for you, where you're just taking someone else's work and reclothing it and reskinning it,
Yeah,
right? And I don't, for the most part, I don't think Quentin does that. I just think he had access and provided a vector
yep.
for um, films that no one would have seen otherwise to enter into mainstream filmmaking. Like, I'll give you an example. Where would John Woo be if it wasn't for people like us and Quentin and Rob Rodriguez biting off of him, but constantly worshiping it? and then like
Right.
rolling out a red carpet for him to get here.
That's
And now
true.
we do John Woo stuff in every action film we make.
What
Right.
I'm saying though is I believe that the day and age of that is coming to an end, that a creative person has to work harder. For example, one of the topics that got brought up this weekend, there was a show here in Middle Georgia, and Andy Smith was here, Matt Yackey was here, my friend Josh Keaton was here. We were talking about 89, 90, 91, that era with Jim Lee, Mark Silvestri, Rob Liefeld, sort of more specifically, where they had this gear with shoulder pads and these sort of antennas and pouches and all this stuff, and it kind of, you know, it looks so different, especially when you think about the guys that were also working, like a Ron Frenz or you know, even an Alan Davis. This tech and this gear seems so new and so fresh, but we know now that they just had copies of Appleseed and
Right.
you know, those things before we did.
Yeah, and Nirasawa's, you know, stuff too
Yes.
proliferated that time. Like Nirasawa, the Nira works.
Nira works, yeah.
Yeah.
I think you two remember that in that period of Image, while you were Top Cow Krieger and you were at Extreme Frigga, that there was 2 books that were making the rounds, and they were kind of like this like arcane bit of design knowledge that no one had, which was Intron Depot and Capcom Design Works.
Yeah, those were huge.
They were like little things everyone clutched onto.
And another one that was sort of floating around, but it wasn't public, was there was a Mike Mignola sketchbook that was like a Xerox copy of his sketchbook, and there were like tons of like designs and things for, I think it was for Iron Wolf. It might have been for Iron Wolf. I don't think it was Fauvered and the Grey Mouser, but I think it was Iron Wolf, and it was all this sort of steampunky, like, you know, but way like 92, way like 10 years before it was cool, you know.
Well, here's what's interesting about that period, though, of what we're talking about, is in that period of the late 80s and 90s when Asian stuff was matriculating into the West, it wasn't easily accessible and not in an understandable form. Now, we all saw Hard Boiled and The Killer probably without knowing what the plot was, just experiencing it, because we didn't have subtitles probably on the bootlegs we had.
It was like that with those movies and with Dragon Ball.
Yeah,
we
like Ninja
would get the import, like, but not know what it was. Same with El Mariachi. I didn't speak Spanish.
Right, but here's the thing: is that because we could not understand it, and it required a lot of discipline to attain it, we would see the image, and then we would take from it into our own cultural context, and make new design. It would look at design from our Western lens with their input, but we're not stealing their story because, like, for example, Akira is very Japanese.
Right.
You know, like you can't import that story, that the context of that story into America is why they never made an American movie of it, because it's impossible without making it, rendering it to mush. It's locked into that cultural trauma of Japan and the atomic bomb and the Showa period. That you can't Americanize that, but you can take the environments. The environment is character. The city is character. The cyberpunk slant. The 2001 Space Odyssey, which he took from us, and the Blade Runner stuff he took from us, and goes to Japanese, and then matriculates back here, and you have this wonderful cultural osmosis going on. It's going 2 ways.
Yeah, and you know, the speaking of things without subtitles, the very first time I ever saw Akira was in Sacramento at, like, when it was going in theaters, and it was just played in Japanese, and there was no dub, and I think it was before even Epic had it, or at least they weren't putting out the Steve Olive stuff yet, so we had no idea what the story was, but it was the aesthetics, you know, the trail that would be left by the lights, you know, the light trails, and you know, that futuristic city and the even at the time the CD player jukebox, you know. Yeah, exactly. Billy's got it right. Yeah, it was there are certain movies that do that, but I think what's interesting though is again, um, I guess my opinion of it is that it's a lot harder to hide your sources these days, or at least that like you don't like obscurity isn't a real thing.
Right.
Um, you know,
Sure.
and so I think it's the way it's split, right? Like we were one of the things you had shown me was a comparison of Michael Mann's Heat
And they
versus
like Takedown.
LA Takedown. Same scene, same dialogue, same angles, different actors, completely different vibe.
And for you guys that don't know, Michael Mann made Heat as a TV movie as kind of a test run, where it was limited down to about an hour, and you'll see it on Instagram where they're comparing. Like you'll see Instagram reels where they're comparing the famous scene between Al Pacino and Robert De Niro with the actors that are in LA Takedown to show you what he just said. Same material, two different actor interpretations. Not bad, just different because they're different caliber of actors interpreting the same material, and almost sounds kind of cheesy through these first sets of actors. And again, they're not bad actors. They're just, you know, they're probably TV actors of the period. They're not Al Pacino and Robert De Niro, but Al Pacino and Robert De Niro can make it work, just like Harrison Ford can make George Lucas work. You know,
In this day and age, I think it's actually like wittier to like lean more into your sources because people are nostalgic, right? And I'm not going to get into how nostalgia is, but people tend to be nostalgic, and when you're nostalgic and you lean into something, you get things like Stranger Things that it really leaned into the idea of a kid adventure that was Spielberg epic, type of situation, and leaned into all of its influences on purpose. And obviously, it's a period piece. So nostalgia does sell big. Um, so, you know, uh, hiding all your references sometimes I feel like is kind of not do like what do you have to feel clever about your choices?
A lot of
Uh,
people do.
listen,
A
like
lot of people do.
so Tarantino, as far as I'm concerned, he doesn't like rehash things that he's seen. He literally reinterprets it in a way that is uniquely Quentin. Even with his references to Lady Snowblood and stuff, it begins and stops at spraying blood all over the place, which we could have just gotten from Kurosawa, right? So, like that's the thing. The thing about Quentin is he takes something that's super nostalgic and everybody like loves, and yes, it's obscure, and maybe not as obscure. I mean, I grew up next to a record store that sold most of this stuff, so I was able to get bootlegs of The Killer and Hard Boiled and stuff like that with English subtitles. I also had an uncle who was very into obscure movies and obscure music, and was very special. And he actually was quite informative, uh, giving me all types of good music to listen to growing up, including all the Godzilla stuff, dude. Like those Godzilla theme songs and stuff that came from the original 1954 Godzilla were
Oh, yeah.
amazing. Yeah,
Dun, 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 dun.
yeah, it's the freaking best. So that being said, like I don't feel like if you're gonna swipe, I think what it comes down to is this: you better have a good idea to make it unique and make it uniquely yours, or else you're not really being clever. You're not really adding anything to anything. Crazy the Tarantino led Epic Games make it. Yeah, that thing was actually kind of cool. Um, I saw that Fortnite thing, and that
I've
was
seen that.
it was so dope. It was
That's
so dope.
cool. Is it on YouTube?
Yeah, it's on YouTube, and it has to do with Gogo. It's her twin sister, and originally they had planned on doing it, but I guess they never were able to. Coastal Americans got a lot of international stuff to be inspired by early. It's true.
Coastal, yeah, especially West Coast, right? Like
Yeah,
it, and at least being for me the Bay Area, and then later in life LA, those had very big hubs, especially when it came to Hong Kong or Japan.
yeah. My favorite thing to do as a kid was to go to conventions with my uncle, and it would usually be like a international convention of some sort where they're bringing in all these international movies. And of course, it was like super weird, and you can't read anything, but some of the coolest memorabilia was coming out of Japan back in the 1980s, and I got to experience some of that cool stuff. So it inspired me a lot. And in fact, like a lot of the people I look up to are from those types of places and have that type of culture. So the guy who taught me how to sculpt is Simon Lee. He's from China, uh, and his stuff is uniquely. Uh, I feel like he fits that aesthetic of of art and such that comes from that place. Very much like Kim Jung Gi uh, did some amazing art and was uniquely designed to his culture. Like it's cool. It's cool. So
Oh, sorry. Are you finished, Craig? Or I don't want to cut you off.
no, go ahead, man. I was.
I wonder what Sheldon was talking about here, and he's like, "What does it matter where sources you take sources from?" We're not condemning that, Sheldon.
Nope.
What we're talking about is the fact that we're not even saying if it's bad or good. We're just talking about the phenomenon because it's interesting. That no matter what you do, you're not going to be an original. No matter what you do, you always inherit a tradition, whether it's political, philosophical, epistemological, ontological. You're inheriting a tradition. I think it's the spirit of the times that are going to make it somewhat unique. And I'll give you an example. Like up until John Woo in the Hong Kong 80s and the Golden Age, they were making, what were they making? They were making wuxia sword films. Then Bruce came along and started making kung fu films. Then there was a resurgence of sword films with a different philosophy. Instead of being about the system and chivalry, it became about cynicism, and then Bruce Lee about the body. And then from that, it came John Woo, Better Tomorrow. Now it's back to the wuxia film, but with guns, right?
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
Is that wholly organic? No, he got that from Sam Peckinpah from the United States. He's a big Peckinpah fan. He took Sam Peckinpah's editing and violence, and he transposed it to Hong Kong wuxia and threw guns in.
Yeah.
So
and then the Matrix said, "Hey."
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you're absolutely correct, Scanlon, by the way. Absolutely correct.
Yes. And I tend to lean towards Will because, Will's the only guy here who actually went to film school and has written a movie and, has done all these things and studied all these things. Like it's not when he talks about film, he talks about film in a way that a person who's super passionate about it does. Like we literally talk about lens scopes and grain on film and things like that. So which is all important to the storytelling process. But I tend to lean towards Will when it comes to movies because he is so into the Asian market of films. I believe he has a larger Criterion collection of kung fu movies than any.
I got my Criterion closet.
Yeah.
His movie collection is insane, man.
It's respectable.
Very.
And I'll say that's a good thing but this is a case here that Scanlon is bringing up, where there is a direct one-to-one lift without attribution. This is where I think the problem is, where he took the entire plot of Ringo Lamb's City on Fire, which is the last 20 minutes of City on Fire, and made it Reservoir Dogs, almost beat for beat, and didn't say, I took that from Ringo Lamb.
Oh, okay.
He didn't. That's my issue with that one.
About doing a copy of a copy of a copy.
I mean, well, the beats are all the same. It's the same beats. Getting shot in the gut. The problem with Harvey Keitel and Tim Roth. Their tension because one's an undercover cop and one is like his best friend but doesn't know he's an undercover cop. The double guns on the cops when they pull up. Remember that when he wastes the two cops in the cop car. Harvey Keitel, remember? All that stuff is in the last 20 minutes of City on Fire, except City on Fire is a better movie.
Oh, wow. I'm going to have to see that now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, now is a good period because all this stuff is available, as we were saying in the beginning. Now you can see all the lifts when you watch Lady Snowblood and you see her zero in on the guy she wants to kill and you hear the actually no, that's from Executioners of Shaolin. Sorry, that's the wrong movie.
Yeah, he stole music from a bunch of different things, and what is it? The Shogun's Emperor is like one of my favorite movies.
Shogun Assassin.
So Shogun Assassin.
I mean, doesn't hide it. At the opening of Kill Bill, there's a Shawscope shield, and it says Shawscope. Yeah. So it's not like he's hiding it. He's giving an homage.
Yeah, which is leaning into it, which is kind of more meta in this day and age, and to prove that like how much stuff bites off of other stuff, like without even knowing. We could even talk about like Will the other day, myself, were talking about Jawbone Death, and Jawbone Death has a lot of things in it that are based on real life people. But also, on top of that, there's this overarching thing where he's kind of like Samson from the Bible, and that's pretty amazing. Like that Will was able to put that all together with everything that he's had, and I wouldn't have thought of it that way, but he very much did. I mean, to me, it's a redemption arc of a person who is broken and has to really kind of sacrifice himself to make things right. For other people, it may be as close as a Bible story or even a Greek story or whatever. Same thing with Hammer. So biting off other worlds and twisting things. So anyways, you got to do it clever. That's what it's about.
Sorry, I hear baby.
Sorry, she's telling me her favorite toy.
It's just so cute, man.
I know, honey. I know it's your favorite toy. Bye. Sorry, she was showing me this Christmas frog. But this kind of goes back to the same person, to Sheldon up there, who's saying like, who cares? It's not so much who cares that we're saying that these, like we just talked about the Samson example in Jawbone Death. This is the last guy who's going to reference the Bible for anything. However, the Bible is part of our cultural symbols of storytelling, and and in Jungian terms, they're full of archetypes, and we like those archetypes, and we tend to reference them even when we don't intend to.
Oh, sure,
right,
sure.
Yeah.
So if you're an artist or you're a writer and you're going to say, I'm going to make a masterpiece, it's going to be pretentious garbage. If you just do what you intend to do, tell a story, you're going to do it based on the tradition you have inherited, just like they do in Hong Kong, just like they do in Japan, just like they do in India. They have a way they like to tell stories. For example, in Hong Kong, it's Confucian, meaning there's the individual and there's the greater good in the system. And you see that in all those films, that tension playing out. Is it the individual who has to stay good, or the institution? Is the institution rotten, and how much is that trickling down to the individual, and can he maintain against that? And you even see it, for example, the cool thing about Hong Kong is that you can see in that accelerated 40-year period that flip from a hopeful, chivalrous values-laden structure of those wuxia films from the 40s to the 60s to Hero with Jet Li, where now Hong Kong has been handed over to mainland China, to the communists, and now it's flipped, where Jet Li, instead of killing the emperor because he's a bad guy, is going to let the emperor live and say, I could have killed you, but I can see your vision for united warring states to make us one Chinese people, so I'm not going to kill you.
Right.
Even though you're a tyrant, even though you're invading all your neighbors and you're going to assimilate them into this Jin empire, I see the vision for the next 1,000 years, that Confucian idea.
Right.
So you could see it flip over the 40 years of their filmmaking. And that's not conscious. That's that tension of going, shit, we're going to get handed over to the mainlanders soon. We're freaked out by it. Then they get handed over, and the filmmaking point of view changes.
Oh yeah, that's why they have so many Godzilla movies after World War II. Also, like that's a direct result.
Yeah, and Akira is the same, comes from the same trauma as Godzilla.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Like, those movies are a way of them rewriting a pain that doesn't go away. So it's and what's even more interesting is that Godzilla is a good guy, right? How many times has he destroyed frickin' Japan? But
many times.
But he's a good guy, right?
Well, he's protecting from greater evils.
Right, which is amazing, right? Like it would be, it'd be cool. Like I just thought about this. I don't know if it's just my stupid head, but let's say somebody does lob some nukes at, Japan. Why wouldn't Godzilla just eat them up and then go use them on whoever shot him? So
well, because Godzilla is the bad guy. Not bad guy, but he's the Americans. He's the British. He's the Leviathan.
Oh, is that what that is? I didn't ever think of it that way, but that's very awesome.
So Scantron brings up Jodorowsky, which is funny. Jodorowsky got brought up this weekend as well when we were talking about the Dune books and such. I personally have not seen El Topo, but I've watched Holy Mountain probably 20 times at least. Very strange stuff. Very I almost part of me wonders if it's deliberate enough to have a message, or if it's open enough to sort of be a fortune cookie where you put your own meaning into it.
He said himself that it's essentially a Crowleyan magic ritual, the movies he wanted to make.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
They're basically rituals on film is what he wanted to do. And he wanted Dune to be kind of a religious experience.
Well, graphically, it's beautiful. That's another one where you can just turn the sound off and the compositions and, obviously a lot of the ideas in it, turning doo-doo into diamonds and such, things like that, and all the Christ figures out of wax and like Holy Mountain's a trip, but it's still it's composed beautifully.
Oh, yeah.
And tell you the truth, I think I'm glad Dune didn't get made by him.
Yeah.
I think it would have been a disaster. It would have been this crazy relic from the 60s, or the 60s and 70s. I don't think it would have been a good direction, because I think he was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's better. It's got a better mythos as an unmade film.
Yeah.
Well,
it would have just been psychedelica, and that's it.
Let's include some things on the mythos, because I had mentioned this during this convention about how. And Will, you know about these books, Craig? I'm not sure if we've talked about these books, but you probably know about them. But Jodorowsky had put together sort of a killer's row, a murderer's row of talent when it came to creating concepts. He was kind of one of the first guys to do that, and obviously, Lucas and Ridley Scott benefited from Dune not being made, because a lot of those people went over there. But he had this pre-production book with designs and storyboards by Mobius and all these things. and there's only like 2 that exist, something like that, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. The books.
And
Yeah, yeah.
what's funny is they call them crypto bros, whatever. These crypto bro guys uh, ended up buying it for like crazy money, thinking that they would be able to publish it,
Yeah.
and then they found out that they only bought the actual physical owning of it, but they didn't have any rights to the contents within.
Right.
Uh, Man, I
You
would.
know what they ended up doing? They ended up scanning it and then releasing it for free.
Where?
You can look on the
I've
internet.
only seen parts.
Oh, I
Seen
don't
like
know if.
bits. I've never seen like the tome. I want to
Oh,
see. I want to see the storyboards. You know what I'm
oh,
saying?
yeah, yeah. Those books are thousands of pages long. I've heard. So,
Love it.
yeah, I mean, it's beautiful and wonderful, and uh, it's very nostalgic. Yes, like if you're super into Dune, I like the old version of Dune because one of my favorite directors was David Lynch, and he's the man. Like I don't care what anybody says. That guy is was one of, when he died. Like I had a week or two of mourning. Like
Did you?
I, yeah, I loved
Yeah.
that guy, man. He was beautiful. I used to watch him give the news daily and tell me what time it was and what day it was, and to have a wonderful day every day on YouTube because he had a little show and he'd come on and he'd talk about the stuff he was doing. Uh,
Did not know
and
that.
yeah, you could still look it up. He would be like, "It's April 27th, 2022, Wednesday. It is 37 degrees outside currently and balmy." And he would just go into his whole little shtick. And today our affirmation is this, and he would go into something. Or I was listening to music the other day, and
Yeah,
blah blah blah.
his world was definitely his world.
Oh yeah,
You know, like
oh
that's
yeah.
how I feel about it. Whenever I've watched, I didn't see any of the anything. I've never seen anything outside of the Twin Peaks stuff. Uh,
No.
so
Okay.
you know, but and I found that stuff to be fun, but also very strange.
It is. It is strange. I actually enjoy the stranger stuff. Is like I don't like conventional, straight across the board storytelling on stuff. Like I like that there is a mystery to Twin Peaks, and there's still a mystery to this day, even though definitively this is how many actual like things we're actually getting from him. He's never going to make more, right? So
Right.
that being said, I still can watch the Twin Peaks stuff like Fire Walk with Me, Twin Peaks, The Return of Twin Peaks,
That's the
which
stuff
is
I've seen.
the third season, which is even more freaking bizarre. And I can still find something new and something beautiful and something like it really is awe-inspiring that there's still a mystery to like what the fuck were you doing? Like you're
Yeah.
like Strange. Yeah, I do. I love Strange. Stranger the better, man. Like I'm a fucking weird person. And that's okay. I like it. I like being weird. So there's through lines to get to wherever you need to get, no matter how you get there.
I think that's great. I think that's great. It's like the Baskin Robbins, it has its 31 flavors for a reason. Uh, Everybody wants something on
Right.
their own. Like I just saw a film recently that I ended up watching it 2 times in a row because I enjoyed it so much. And not necessarily because it was like groundbreaking as a script or a story. It was just the more of the gestalt of the story, the acting, but the direction taken. And it was a movie called Arabesque featuring Gregory Peck and Sophia Loren, directed by Stanley Donen. And there are some really
Go away then.
really interesting angles, graphic approaches, sleight of hand as far as directing's concerned, where I enjoyed that. So I think I'm with you a bit, Krager, in that yeah, I don't want to watch something that's masters and coverage, you know, and kind of straightforward and, you know, that.
Right.
But also, like, there's some movies that I never want to see again, you know.
Of course, yeah. They did their job the first time. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, that kind of goes back to our original thesis here, is that you wouldn't get what you're asking for, that outside the box Hollywood, you know, master over close up, right? You wouldn't get that without without that osmosis from Asian films who didn't have a lot to work with. They had to move quick, so they had to find ways to make their days, but they ended up making stylistic choices to make their days, like zoom lenses and things like that. So, okay, we don't have to put it on a dolly. We can just zoom, and we get how many magnifications out of a lens, how many sizes, and a way of shooting action to get it quick. So when they would choreograph, for example, they would say we're going to do 3 takes and do 3 shots from each side from each angle. So when we go to editing, we can put it together in a myriad of ways so it never looks the same. But they shoot it the exact same way though every time.
Yeah,
it's just the way they put it together makes it different.
I think the French and the German, especially the stuff in the late 50s, early 60s, also. I mean, we can. I'm doing it, man. I love Paul Azevedo. What's up, dude?
What I mean by that is that we didn't have, like you were saying before with Jodorowsky, we didn't have a design department until the advent of Jodorowsky and Dune, where they stole the idea to get the best guys for whatever genre you're doing and put them in a room, right? Now you have a design department.
Ish. And I have to say that because I bring this up because one of the people that I talk to and I email and makes me feel like a fanboy every time I do it, but whenever I get a response, I feel very lucky, is Jim Steranko. I email him every couple months with questions and we correspond. And one of the things he was telling me, because he was giving me movies I should take a look at, stuff that like Mildred Pierce. Like, I would never in a million years have said, hey, I need to go see Mildred Pierce. Like, I'm not a Joan Crawford fan. It doesn't sound like something I'd want to see. But Steranko said, hey, give it a watch. And I said, well, what makes some of these films different for you? You know, what is it about it? And he says, I like anything that's been designed and planned.
Nice.
Okay. And what he means by that is, like, take a movie like the one I just mentioned, Arabesque, or take the Mildred Pierce. That movie has definitely been storyboarded and pre-built and designed with graphic intention involved. Right. And and they're coordinating all the departments, costume and lighting and building and things like that. But I think, to your point, what Jodorowsky did was really sort of turn up the volume on it with specialists.
It became standard after him. What you're talking about was special occasions.
Yeah.
Like they didn't have like dedicated, like, I'll give you an example. Saul Bass. We all know who Saul Bass is.
Yeah, logo guy. Really good guy.
Yeah. He was brought in as like a designer of movies. And it was almost like a weird plenipotentiary role where it wasn't really defined. It's like he would storyboard it, he would design the sequences and the special effects sequences, and like he was almost acting like a director within a director.
Yeah.
And it didn't have defined boundaries. They would bring him in as a stylist, quote unquote, like a paid stylist.
Right.
And that was a one-off thing going on for the films he would work on. And just like what you said, it was like one-off. Jodorowsky, now people had design departments as
Yeah.
opposed to an art department. They had an art department prior to that, which was to make the sets look good and
Right.
put up what the production designer designed, but not an art department where they're actually doing what Jodorowsky did, put together a bullpen.
Yep. Yeah, it's a bullpen of specialists, and instead of just like,
Thank you, some person.
one guy, being a production designer, and he's hiring carpenters and stuff and all this. It's now it's one guy going, I'm getting the best person for ships and the this and this, and it becomes more specialized, and you get coordinators. I think it was great because it
and this is a European thing we've stolen, right? Is that bad that we stole it from Europeans?
Right. Well, that's
same
just
thing with. I mean, not to cut you off, but just adding on to what you're about to say. Same thing with fight choreographers that come from Hong Kong, whole fight teams. They say we're going to design these sequences, like actual fist fights. Like Bruce pioneered that, they have that
choreography. This angle for the punch.
Yeah, like not like the wuxia stuff.
This action.
More, right. It's the wuxia stuff was more not circus, but Peking opera acrobatics. Bruce was like, we're going to design a fight, like a real fight, not a spectacle like a Peking opera spectacle. And now in movies we have dedicated fight teams. That's all they do.
Well, and also again, like you can have a coordinated fight that's in the Bruce Lee realm, or like you said, the Peking opera where they do the sticky hands, and it's almost like an acrobatic,
like Jackie Chan,
like a dance. Right. But then there are guys where it's like there's two specialists. Sometimes those jobs are folded into one, where like if someone is throwing a right hook, they're not putting the camera here. They're kind of connecting the right hook and cutting to a wide and connecting the action of the person flying back. So they're not only designing the choreography of the fight, but they're designing the flow of the energy of the frame as it carries through the sequence as well.
Yes.
But I'll tell you, one of the things that I found quite interesting, and I had the pleasure of witnessing myself, was that there's a frustration with that a lot of foreign directors have coming and working in the United States system, because we have unionized workers, Teamsters and things like that, there's like a sort of a chain of command, and
it's like, highly bureaucratized and controlled.
Yeah, very, 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 very bureaucratized, and the wheels run slow. And I remember seeing this firsthand when I worked on the Transporter 2. We had shot a bunch of stuff in Miami, and then we did a whole bunch of other stuff in Paris, France. And I remember before the shoot, talking with the director, I forget how many shots he had, like setups, fresh setups, not, in a day, on the schedule. And I was like, bro, that's looking pretty ambitious. He goes, no, it'll be fine. And I go, well, tell me what you mean. He goes, here, if that sandbag needs to move, whoever is next to the sandbag moves the sandbag. He goes, but in the United States, if that sandbag needs to move, you need to call the guy who calls the guy to come move the sandbag. And you have a PA running out to that guy to get that guy to come move the sandbag. And you go, oh shit, yeah, I get it. It's like the at least the European way was we're all in this together. Nobody's too big or too small to move a C-stand. You know, whereas here it's like, no, that's his job. Don't touch that C-stand. You know, don't touch that bag of sand. Don't you dare, you know, unplug that wire. You know, don't offer anybody a soda. That's not your job.
It gets convoluted, it sounds like. Back to the whole idea of swiping stuff and making other shit. Um, so I really like it when people take, and this is probably the wrong crowd to say this to, um, any Shakespeare thing and turn it into like Coriolanus or do Romeo and Juliet with guns. I'm all down for that. I don't know
Yeah.
why.
Or Kurosawa with a Throne of Blood with Beth.
Yeah, I mean, I realize it's a little gay, but I like it.
They're
like
templates, man.
Dude, Taming of the Shrew done on moonlighting is how I got into
Or 10
liking
Things I Hate
that
About
show,
You.
Moonlighting. So it was awesome. It was so good, man, and also makes Shakespeare, dude.
It also shows you, Krager, that it shows you why it's timeless as a piece of literature, because it's infinitely applicable.
Oh yeah.
And you can skin it in any period, and it will still resonate. Just like Lord of the Rings is always applicable. Sun Tzu is always applicable. It might not be literally applicable, but but it has an infinite applicability, just like the Bible does.
I like King Lear. Like that's awesome. Do anything King Lear. And that makes me happy. Like, it doesn't take much. You can swipe from culture. But you have
what
to
else is going to inform you, Krager? You exposed to it from the day you're born.
Sure, exactly. So,
which is why it's not bad. And also, lastly, let me add this on before you continue, because your Quentin Tarantino has never ever. I'm not an apologist for him, but he's never said he's anything other than a genre director. And when he's crafting his films, he's working within specific genre conventions because he wants to.
Yeah.
And he likes following those rules.
Which is probably fun for him. It's the same thing we do with comic books. Like, when we're designing and we're doing things, we put, first and foremost, it's not always a free-for-all. We sometimes have to put rules on ourselves to actually meet the criteria we need to get at. And that's like part of the job. Like, you're literally putting things in your way on purpose so that you get a certain result. There we go. What's up, people? What's up, Brian?
I love Brian. 6 Gun Gorilla is dope.
Even Brand.
Nice. So yeah, I mean, some of my favorite stuff is swiped from other things, and we wouldn't know about some of the stuff. Like, even that movie Vanilla Sky comes from a Spanish-made movie called Close Your Eyes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it has Penelope Cruz in it. They actually just brought her over to do Vanilla Sky.
Yes.
Yep.
So
that's a good one, Scantrot, is that The Warriors, which is a classic, is the Anabasis by Xenophon. No, it's not the Odyssey, it's the Anabasis.
Ah, okay.
Xenophon's book about escaping from Persia. The Greek mercenaries get stuck in Persia.
No,
it's the same thing. They go to Persia to fight for Cyrus the Younger in a civil war with his brother Darius or Artaxerxes, and they lose, and they got to get out of Persia. Just like in the film, they go to Brooklyn or something, and Cyrus is putting together the gangs, and he gets shot, and they got to get back to Coney Island.
See, we swipe from life in so many different ways. How?
Yeah,
how
what I'm saying though. My reasoning is that some people, their recipe seems like an original thing, and it's not anymore.
I mean, nothing is, Frege. It depends what you do with it.
Right.
I'll give you an example too, like Meathead, for example. There is so much in there stolen from, not even stolen, but informed by various films and literature and history in particular. You're probably not going to spot it, but it's there.
Right.
Right.
Like Brian Kriskow is going to know what I'm talking about. One of my main characters is Blow by Blow Tetsuya Nakadai from Harakiri. You know, like that. Take Tetsuya Nakadai Harakiri, cut and paste them into Meathead. That's his character.
I'm gonna need to play this back and run it through a translator. I don't even know what you just said.
It's one of the greatest movies ever made.
Nice.
You're gonna have to let me send me a text, and I'm gonna take a look, because
it might be a little nihilistic for you, but it's good. I love that film, man. It makes me sad, but I love it.
I mean, art imitates life, or life imitates art. So either way, right? Like, that saying is more relevant. Like, the more we do stuff in the art world, because of how fast information gets around, because we're able to look up so many obscure references. Like, I can't tell you how useful, like, I've been trying to write a science fiction like thing for the longest time, okay? And I came up with a bunch of concepts that I know are things that can be real, okay? But how do I really make it like viable to real life? So what you end up having to do is either talk to an astrophysicist, or you could ask AI, right? And AI can tell you what you need to like make a gravity suit, or what kind of energy would propel a gravity suit, like exotic energies and things like that. Those type of things are stuff that we would have never been able to tap into 50 years ago, when all I had was an Encyclopedia Britannica on my wall. That was
right
it. There was nothing I could have done about that.
we have about 10 minutes left, just throwing down the 10-minute ding. The You brought up an interesting point, though, and I remember reading something called The Power of Limits, and I'm a metaphor guy. Some people don't like metaphors. I'm a big metaphor guy. But if you had, let's say you had 5 movies to choose from, or all you have access to is 5 movies, you're going to be able to pick quite quickly, and also really spend time with those things.
Mm-hmm.
Now imagine that you have a plethora. You have a wall of 5,000 movies. Suddenly now it's a different ball of wax. So what I'm saying, as far as the power to limits, I always tell my kids, I'm like, you guys have the internet, man. We had the Dewey Decimal System. Like, we would literally had what was available in our library. In our library, at least in Pacheco, not Martinez downtown, but in Pacheco, was like a mobile home trailer. You know what I'm saying? So
very big.
Right? And not at all. And they didn't even have a freaking microfiche system. You remember that
We
stuff?
need the Dramamine.
I do.
We need a Dramamine to go through it.
Oh, that stuff's so funny. I actually missed
or the Betamax, or the video store. But again, I mean, we've talked about this at the beginning, which was it took discipline to attain this stuff, and it felt like you found treasure. And you wanted to use it wisely and share it with people. Furthermore, share it with people, create a community.
But again, the word you use is treasure, and I will use the word savor. It's the problem with music today. It's the problem with a lot of things today. It's the same thing with cassette tapes. I remember my 10th grade year, I had like 3 cassettes, and it's all I could afford. Right. But I adored and loved every aspect of it. Hey, young lady. There you are.
Hi.
There you are, cheese. You get to savor every aspect of those things and spend time with them. It's like if you have Crunchyroll, let's say, and you have access to thousands of options. Whether it's a
Right.
TV show or a movie, you might consume, binge, just be like, I'm watching this, I'm watching this, I'm watching this, I'm watching this. Whereas I remember getting my first copy of Ninja Scroll, which is like our generation, right? And watching it over and over and over and really
yeah.
just sort of like
Trying to absorb it.
absorbing it. Yeah, it
Right.
wasn't this sort of like, oh, I saw it, there it goes. You know, it was it had time to be influential.
Right. Right.
And it was
Yeah.
also a cultural entry point too.
Sure.
Sure. Yeah. Robotech was a cultural entry point.
Ooh,
Indeed.
yeah. Ultron,
Yeah.
Star Blazers.
Oh yeah, that stuff was amazing. Let's okay. So full circle on this. You know, with music, um, so you can have a library of 5,000 CDs, and what it comes down to in the long run is because all those 5,000 CDs have one thing in common: they contain only 13 notes, so they're limited to what they can do, right? So it's variations on those 13 notes. They're always rehashing something. You can do 100 pop songs with 4 chords, um, but it's the groove, it's the journey you get taken on. And even if you are limited to only 13 notes, you can still influence a person's life who's never heard something like that before. And thank God for new generations, because with each generation, they think that we're new, but we're really not.
I love how they discover things now.
Yeah, we're just kind of doing the same thing over and over and over again, and
Yep.
trying to make a living at it. So, you know, that's kind of what it comes down to. Like, we are limited in what we do, right? We only know what we know. So, and if we just liken it to 13 notes, like, that's it. That's all we get. So, all need is 3 chords and the truth. That's right. A
Yeah.
little bit of country western right there. 3 chords and the truth.
Yeah, I mean, you get that way with art too. If you go, there's the three primaries, or CMYK essentially, right?
Yeah, yeah,
and everything that proliferates from it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's interesting. So yeah, it's not what you're influenced by, it's how you flip it.
Yeah, it's how you're influenced by it. It's that's the thing. So, and it's always going to be new to somebody.
Yeah.
Down the line. So
Now, one last question, and Will, that the thing you showed me with the Michael Mann comparison, right? Would that almost be like kind of the comic equivalent? Would that almost be like an inker or a finisher? Do you know what I mean? Because it was like literally the same lines and the same angle and the same lighting, but just flourished differently.
I just say it's a different level of specialization and professionalism employed on the same material. Because again, it's two different styles of actors, 2 sets of actors who are, let's face it, a higher level in their game than those 2 guys were. I mean, I'm not saying they're bad, but they were TV actors. I've seen them in a lot of films. But if they're not Al Pacino, they're not Robert De Niro. They're not cultural icons of that period of film. And then you have Michael Mann, and then you have Dante Spinotti, who's not a TV shooter. He's a world-renowned Italian shooter who shot Michael Mann films all the way back to, not Thief, but probably Manhunter was the first one he shot. And then all the way up until, he didn't shoot Collateral, but up to Collateral.
I was going to say he didn't do Collateral.
No, he came back for Public Enemies, but Dion Beebe took over after that. But I'm saying is that it was just an up the game, higher budget, more time. That's another one.
Wait,
more
Public
time for the
Enemies?
TV schedule.
Is that a Michael Mann film?
Yes.
Holy smokes, man! That's one I didn't know about.
No, not like a different inker, Sheldon. It would be like more like different.
So not like different. So not like different inkers then. Interesting. Almost like just a different penciler altogether. Yeah.
Right.
Pretty much,
Right.
yeah, the same material.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you guys have seen the movie of the week when they did it, like as a television show, which
The Tim
was
Curry.
years ago. No.
This
That
is
was
going even further back.
that's even no. It was after that. No, sorry, it was The Shining. So we all know the first Shining that Kubrick did, and then they did a movie of the week type of Shining, and that's the same material, just rehashed,
Yeah.
with a different actor, and of
Well,
course,
speak of The Shining, that whole here's Johnny, that act sequence is shot for shot lifted from a 1921 film.
oh, that doesn't surprise me. Like
Yeah.
they all stole from
Yeah, no, but that's
each
what I'm
other,
saying.
man.
But
Sure.
we would never. I mean, even in Kubrick's lifetime, no one knew, or no one was talking about that lift until after he died because they didn't know.
No.
A good example, by the way, would be the two things based on. I think what we're saying is not different inkers, different artists altogether. But Michael Mann's a special case because it's his material, right? And him directing both with different levels of budget, right? One's a TV budget, one's a film budget, right? From Warner Brothers. Sure. Now, The Thing from Another World is a good example, right? You have the original novel, the original short story, and then you have the Howard Hawks one from the 1950s, and then the John Carpenter one from 1982. Both interpreting the same material, but vastly different movies.
Vastly different. And
Frankenstein, right?
Yeah, good example. How many people have directed?
Yeah, even the Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, even the versions of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
Exactly. So it looks like we're at an hour and 2 minutes.
Yeah, we've hit an hour. I wanted to thank everybody that came by. That was weird seeing myself type in the comments. Is that you, Will, that's able to
it's me.
Okay, it's like whoa, that's a trip.
Just saying hi to everybody that we know.
I just want to say hi to Well Read, Mike McMahon, Linkovich, Sheldon, Billy Basco, Leg Kick, Gordon Good Brother, Prater 7, Marco Golly's in the house, Tokame, what's up, Marco. Seth? Maramy, Buzz, Acevedo, everybody, and sorry if I missed anybody, but I know it's been a while. Really good to see you guys. Stay tuned. This has been Domingo Los Amigos, episode 1. We are the Amigos. This is us giving a little walk. Here it is. Yeah. So anyhow, I hope you guys enjoyed it. We're gonna leave the stream up. I'm probably gonna leave them up for a week, take them down, leave them up for a week, take them down. So if you guys have any comments or anything you'd like to say, feel free to drop them in either Couch Doodles or the Fragaboom channel. And I hope you guys are enjoying it. You guys tell them where you guys can be found on social media so they can check you out.
Right here across all platforms.
So
that's
that you're like your little name thing.
Yeah, Marceli Inc.
Okay. Yep, how about you, Krager?
Oh, it's Von Durabo on X and Jason Alistair Crowley Krager on Facebook and Jason Krager on Instagram. You should be able to find
dude from the chat. That is a great segue. Yeah, Black Flag, working on it now. I'm actually doing the inks and everything myself. Got a whole new pipeline. Very excited to show you guys some pages here coming up in the next few weeks. But that's your update here for now.
Yep, up and working. So Meathead is being worked on. Jawbone Death is being worked on and colored. The second issue is done, and I'm coloring it. and it looks like we're going to launch a first volume actually. So it'll be more
Mhm.
like 100 plus full color, which I got to actually pencil, ink, and color the
You're a
entire book.
savage, man.
With the help of Marco Gali, of course,
Yep.
because I couldn't do it on my own.
Marco, yeah, he's
but yeah.
he's in the chat, you guys. Big respect. Big respect.
Marco is like the sediment which all of our bullshit settles on. You know.
Yeah. Marco actually is a very accomplished editor and letterist and inker and artist, and he, helps in so many ways behind the scenes. And we're just pecking away at stuff and making it go. I know everybody's waiting, but comics are a hard game, and we like to draw, and we're doing what we can. So,
is there a link for Jawbone, or
I think
just Adam, right?
I think Adam had a issue 2 one up for a while, but because things have changed and we're deciding to do like the first 4 issues as a volume, like complete.
Yeah.
It's going to take a little bit longer because, of course, I'm coloring it and having to draw it.
Mhm.
But that being said, you're going to get 100 plus pages plus a interlude written by Will himself and drawn by me. So it'll interlude from the first volume. There'll be 2 volumes of Jawbone Death. So it'll be a fat boy. Plus, there's a bunch of announcements coming down the line with Adam and a few other people, but I can't say anything yet. He has to do it himself.
Of course, Marco, you are a machine, my friend.
Marco, yeah, Marco's the best. So he definitely is a hardworking badass, and
he sounds like Scott Mosier.
And we like to keep him. Yeah, we like to keep him busy. So let's just keep pecking away at our stuff so that we can keep Marco busy.
Yeah. So we're winding down. Stay tuned. There's quite possible another one next Sunday. What are they? Something Domingo. What's next? What's the word for next in Espanol?
Proxima.
What is it?
Proxima.
Domingo Proxima. Isn't it like reversed too? Or is it?
Domingo Próximo.
Okay, Domingo Proxima.
It's masculine.
Keep an eye out. Again, please, over the next week, if anybody watching this has ideas for subjects, we love talking. The wonderful thing about this friendship that the 3 of us have is between us. Is that we have varying points of view, varying experiences, varying reasons, and are very passionate about where we stand, and we're also all intelligent enough to explain why.
And be respectful of all of our beliefs.
No, I just even though you're
nobody.
Even though Prager, you're a degenerate, and Krager, you're a heathen, I just love you both to death.
That's okay. Right. I love you too, guys. So. Psychos.
All right, you guys. Everybody be well.
Good night, everyone.
Take care.